Good morning, one and all. Today we are going to discuss about two topics under respiratory system. One is non-respiratory functions of respiratory tract, as well as main one is mechanism of respiration. Mechanism of respiration. So first we discuss about non-respiratory functions of respiratory tract. Already we know the main function of the respiratory system is respiration, nothing but inspiration and expiration, where the exchange of gases takes place between lungs and atmospheric air, as well as exchange of gases between blood and tissues. Okay, the main function is respiration. But coming to the non-respiratory functions of the respiratory tract, one is olfaction. So olfaction, everyone know that smell. So sense of smell. Why? Because the olfactory receptors are present in the mucous membrane, so which are responsible for the sense of smell. And next, vocalization. Larynx. Everyone know that is also known as voice box. Okay, the sound is produced due to the larynx only, which is responsible for the vocalization. And next, prevention of dust particles. Everyone know that the whatever the dust will be entered through the nose or through mouth, it will be deposited or stick to the mucous membrane, and hair cells whatever present in the nose, that will helpful for the expulsion of the dust particles outside, or preventing the entry of dust particles into the lungs. Or otherwise, if suppose these dust particles are inhaled directly and enter the lungs, where the it will be expelled outside through coughing or sneezing, because the macrophages which are present in the alveoli helpful for the expulsion of those engulfed microbes to outside. So the prevention of dust particles, one is by the mucous membrane and other one is by the presence of macrophages in the alveoli. So these particles escape from the from the lungs or through the coughing or sneezing mechanism. Next one is defensive mechanism. This is the main non-respiratory function of the respiratory system. The defensive mechanism here, lungs plays an important role in immunological defense system of the body. Is it right? Why? Because the alveoli of the lungs itself having the natural killer cells, as well as the lungs itself have some defensins and cathelicidins. Defensins and cathelicidins are the antimicrobial peptides. Antimicrobial peptides. These are generally lungs' natural defensive mechanism. So individually we discuss about all the things here. Lungs' own defenses takes place by the defensins and cathelicidins, which are the antimicrobial peptides, and other one is defense through leukocytes. Leukocytes are nothing but white blood cells. Is it right? In that mainly neutrophils and lymphocytes. Lymphocytes mainly responsible for the development of immunity, and neutrophils mainly responsible for the phagocytic mechanism. Phagocytosis is nothing but engulfing of bacteria. Okay, and next, defense through macrophages. So macrophages means which engulf the dust particles and are the pathogens which enter the alveoli and act as scavengers in lungs. So lung scavenger is here macrophages. And next, macrophages mainly secrete interleukins and tumor necrosis factor, that is TNF, and chemokines. Everyone knows the tumor necrosis factor and interleukins, as well as chemokines. Chemokines means these are the substance which bound to the or attract to the WBC cells towards the site of any inflammation. Nothing but if suppose any injury will be there, then automatically inflammation takes place due to these chemokines. Why? Because it attracts the WBC cells towards the site of any inflammation. And next, defense through the mast cell. Mast cells which produces hypersensitivity reactions. Generally mast cells which produce hypersensitivity reactions like allergy and anaphylactic reactions. So it secretes mainly heparin, histamine, serotonin and hydrolytic enzymes, which will mainly helpful for the production of hypersensitivity reactions, which will helpful for one of the protective mechanism. Everyone knows that hypersensitivity indicates that allergy indicates that it is not good to your health or not suitable to your body. So you automatically stop the usage of those things. So nothing, for example, when you are entered into some polluted area, you don't know that which type of chemical is there in that area, but your continuous exposure leads to coughing or sneezing or sometimes some rashes on the skin. That indicates that you are in your surroundings you are having some chemical substance which is not suitable to your body. So that's why it is in one type of indication to escape from that environment. And next, defense through natural killer cells. Natural killer cells are the large granule cells. These are the third type of lymphocytes. Mainly it is present in lungs and lymphoid organs, which will mainly act against viruses. These natural killer cells mainly act against the viruses. Next, defend through dendritic cells. Dendritic cells is nothing but the nerve cells consisting of the dendrites. Those we are the dendrites which consisting of cells called as dendritic cells, which is plays an important role in immunity. Already you know that the supporting cells, that glial cells present in the nerve, is also helpful for development of immunity. Development of immunity. And next function of the non respiratory system is maintenance of water balance. You think that how it will be helpful for maintenance of water balance means respiratory tract plays a role in water loss mechanism. How water loss will be takes place during expiration. During expiration, what happened, the carbon dioxide is expelled out through small amount of water. So water evaporates through the expired air. So due to the heat, whatever due to the temperature, what is happening here, the water will be evaporated and escapes from the body through expired air or exhaled air. Next, regulation of body temperature. During expiration, along with water, heat is also lost from the body. During expiration, what is happen along with the water, water evaporates means here what happened, loss of heat will be takes place from the body. So that's why in that way it will controls the body temperature by removing excess heat from the body. Next, regulation of acid base balance. So generally carbon dioxide content is there in the blood, that will be combined with the water. See, acid base balance, what happen here, carbon dioxide combined with water, it will forms an bicarbonic acid, that will again dissociates into H plus and HCO3 minus. Okay, so in this way it will helpful for the maintenance of or regulation of acid base balance. If suppose the H plus high and high bicarbonate ions are more in body, to balance that, these will be combined to again reverse reaction will be takes place, combined to form H2CO3, and H2CO3 it is immediately dissociated into carbon dioxide and water, which will be expelled outside. Okay, next function is anticoagulant function. Anticoagulation is nothing but coagulation means formation of clot, anticoagulants means removal of clot. That is here naturally heparin acts as a natural anticoagulant. Mainly these heparin is secreted by the mast cell. Already we discussed in this point while discussing the defense through the mast cell, we discussed the point, heparin is secreted by the mast cell. Heparin is acting as a natural anticoagulant function. And secretion of ACE means angiotensin converting enzyme. Already we will discussed in your first anatomy the complete flow chart of renin angiotensin system. Already we discussed that. So here angiotensin converting enzyme, what is the function of angiotensin converting enzyme, which will convert the angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2. Okay, so which will helpful for the control of blood pressure. That is a continuous request. Again angiotensin 2 is acting on the aldosterone, where the reabsorption of sodium ions will be takes place. That is a different topic. And next, synthesis of hormonal substances. So here some type of hormonal substance will be synthesized in the lungs, that is prostaglandins, acetylcholine and serotonin. So the lungs also synthesize the hormonal substances. Mainly the lung tissues also synthesize the hormonal substances, that is prostaglandins, acetylcholine and serotonin. So these are the important functions, non-respiratory functions of the respiratory tract. Now we are coming to the main topic. Listen properly about the mechanism of respiration. Everyone knows the common thing from your childhood, that is respiration means inspiration and expiration. Inspiration means inhalation of gas, expiration means exhalation of gas outside. Nothing but inspiration means inhaling the oxygen from outside to lungs and the atmosphere to lungs, and expiration means from lungs to atmospheric. Exhale the air from lungs to atmospheric air. But breathing will be respiration will be occurring two processes, that is breathing and exchange of gases. While respiration, two things happening, one is inspiration and expiration, and other one is exchange of gases. What is happening during inspiration and expiration? The exchange of gases will be takes place. So here the exchange of gases also takes place by external respiration and internal respiration. External respiration means it between lungs and blood. Internal respiration means between blood and tissues. Okay, next coming to the muscles. What are the, before going to discuss about these two things, we have to discuss about muscles involved in the respiration. There are two types of muscles. One is inspiratory muscles and other one is expiratory muscles. Inspiratory muscles, the muscles which are involved during the inspiration are known as inspiratory muscles. Mainly the primary inspiratory muscles and accessory. Accessory means these are also helpful for inspiration. So primary inspiratory muscles are diaphragm, which is supplied by phrenic nerve, as well as external intercostal muscles. So here diaphragm and external intercostal muscles are the primary inspiratory muscles, whereas accessory muscles are sternocleidoid, mastoid, scalene, anterior serrati, elevators of scapulae, pectoral, or the accessory inspiratory muscles. Nothing but due to this primary inspiratory muscles contraction and relaxation, these muscles are also getting contracted or relaxed. So that the effect these primary effect indirectly leads to show the effect on these or muscles. So that's why these are called as accessory muscles. Next, expiratory muscles. So expiratory muscles, here during deep or forced breathing, these muscles contract. When these expiratory muscles contract means during deep or forced breathing. See, once you check yourself, deep force or breathing, these muscles contract. The primary expiratory muscles are internal intercostal muscles, which are innervated by the intercostal nerves, and accessory expiratory muscles are abdominal muscles. You try yourself by during trying this expiration process, the abdominal muscles are contracted. So that's why here internal intercostal muscles and abdominal muscles are mainly responsible for the expiration. Next, coming to the intercostal muscles in detail, and diaphragm. What are the muscles involved in respiration? What we said, for inspiration diaphragm and external intercostal muscles, for expiration it is internal intercostal muscles. So that's why we discuss about these two things. First, intercostal muscles. Actually these are 11 pairs of muscles which are situated between 12 pairs of ribs. 11 pairs of muscles situated between 12 pairs of ribs. Two types, these are internal intercostal muscles and external intercostal muscles. Step 1, how the intercostal muscles are helpful during respiration. See, the contraction of intercostal muscles during contraction of the in contraction of intercostal muscles, what happened? Pull the ribs towards the first pair of ribs. This movement causes outward movement of the rib cage. Once you check yourself, you can try yourself. మనం ఇలా బాగా చేసినప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందండి, మన రిబ్ కేజ్ అనేది అవుట్వర్డ్ మూమెంట్ వస్తుంది కదా. సో అవుట్వర్డ్ మూమెంట్ వచ్చిందంటే అర్థం ఏంటి? ఇట్ ఇంక్రీజెస్ ద థొరాసిక్ క్యావిటీ అండ్ రెస్పాన్సిబుల్ ఫర్ ఇన్స్పిరేషన్. వై? బికాస్ ద డయాఫ్రమ్ the rib cage is extended outward movement will be takes place. So that's why it increases thoracic cavity and responsible for inspiration. So during contraction what happened here? It increases thoracic cavity. Step 2, relaxing. Normal condition of ribs, nothing but again it come back to the normal position. Inward movement decreases the thoracic cavity, takes place in the expiration. So during inspiration increases the thoracic cavity, during expirations decreases the thoracic cavity. And next, first already we discussed about internal intercostal muscles. Next, coming to the diaphragm. Diaphragm, actually it is situated below the ribs. Actually it is dome shaped. See, like this. It divides thoracic cavity and abdominal cavity. Because it divides thoracic is present in the roof and nothing but on the top of the diaphragm. On the base of the diaphragm we are having abdominal. Nothing but abdominal cavity is acting as floor. and thoracic cavity is acting as a roof. Okay, so what is happening during inspiration and expiration, we will check out here. Inspiration means contraction. Here what happened? Step 1, the contraction of the diaphragm. కాంట్రాక్షన్ ఆఫ్ ది డయాఫ్రమ్, నథింగ్ బట్ షార్టనింగ్ ఆఫ్ ది మజిల్ ఫైబర్. ఎప్పుడైనా కాంట్రాక్ట్ అయ్యేప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందండి, అక్కడ ఉన్న మజిల్ అనేది షార్టన్ అవుతుంది కదా. సో ద కాంట్రాక్షన్ ఆఫ్ ది డయాఫ్రమ్ లీడ్స్ టు షార్టనింగ్ ఆఫ్ ది మజిల్ ఫైబర్. So the diaphragm convexity decreases. See how the shape will be there normally like this. So here muscle fiber short అయింది కదా, it decreases the convexity which leads to appearing as a flat shape. So then what happened, it increases the thoracic cavity. Why? Because on the upside, nothing but on the roof of the diaphragm we are having thoracic cavity. Diaphragm కిందకి దిగిందంటే ఏమవుతుంది, మనకి స్పేస్ అనేది థొరాసిక్ క్యావిటీ స్పేస్ అనేది ఇంక్రీజ్ అవుతుంది. దట్ ఈస్ టేక్స్ ప్లేస్ ఇన్ ద inspiration. Next, coming to the expiration. Inspiration and expiration are a continuous process. Everyone know that. Step 2, the relaxation of diaphragm. During relaxation of diaphragm, again what happened? The convexity resumed, appears as dome shaped. Again it come back to the normal position. So it decreases the thoracic cavity. Why? Because the roof of the thoracic cavity, it is again come back to the normal position. See, the space will be decreases. So it decreases the thoracic cavity, which leads to expiration. Okay, next coming to the breathing. What is the main process of mechanism of respiration? Breathing, and other one is exchange of gases. First, breathing. Breathing means ventilation. Ventilation means here inspiration, expiration. Already we said that intake of oxygen is known as inspiration, expulsion of carbon dioxide outside, it is known as expiration. Inspiration, what happened here? Contraction of diaphragm as well as intercostal muscles. So what happened by the contraction of diaphragm and intercostal muscles? Outward movement of the rib cage and downward movement of the diaphragm. Outward movement of the rib cage and downward movement of the diaphragm. Okay, so then it increases the thoracic cavity and decreases the pressure. Air enter into the lungs. Here the duration of inspiration is 2 seconds. And next, expiration. Here what happened? Relaxation of the diaphragm and intercostal muscles. Already whatever the inspiratory muscles and expiratory muscles we discussed, based on that only this will be there. Relaxation of diaphragm and intercostal muscles. What happened here? Same. Here outward movement. Here what happened? Opposite. Inward movement of rib cage, which leads to upward movement of diaphragm, which decreases the thoracic cavity and increases the pressure. Then air expelled out. The duration is 3 seconds. Remember one thing, after each inspiration and expiration, it will take a pause. Again go with the inspiration. After every expiration, it will take a one pause, nothing but 1 second time. It will take some time and again go back with the inspiration process. Here you have to remember one thing, intercostal muscles and diaphragm are exact opposite each other. Idi contract ayindi ante, I mean for example both are contracted, but intercostal muscles anevi outward, helpful for outward movement of the rib cage and downward movement of the diaphragm. Simply you have to remember that the rib cage and diaphragm are opposite in movement. The rib cage will help for outward movement, means there is a inward movement of or downward movement of diaphragm. Inward movement of rib cage means upward movement of the diaphragm. Remember this simple logic, it will helpful for easy to remember for your main exams. Clear? And next, for adults it is 12 to 16 cycles per minute. Okay, and here see visceral layer and parietal layer, 2 layers already we discussed in the anatomy. Lungs have visceral layer and parietal layer. In between these 2 layers the pressure will be developed, that is negative pressure. Okay, clear? I think up to this topic, that up to breathing you have a clear idea. Next, in the next video only, today itself I will cover the exchange of gases. Why? Because here that much time, that much memory won't be accepted here. So in the next video I will send you the exchange of gases. Thank you for listening.